In the U.S., 401k matches on student loan payments gain foothold in corporate America. Reportedly, young employees are increasingly struggling at work. In the U.S., 401k matches on student loan payments gain foothold in corporate America. Reportedly, young employees are increasingly struggling at work, while older workers fare better. In Canada, gig workers in British Columbia to be paid minimum of $20.88 an hour. China's Ant Group invests $2.9 billion in technology research last year. Apple becomes the first $1 trillion global brand. NVIDIA's value triples, report says. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang has a no one-on-one meetings rule for his 55 direct reports. China's May Consumer Price Index up 4 consecutive months. PPI decline narrows. India will need to build 100 million homes this decade amid rising household incomes, and nearly 90% Indian employees say they are suffering. Over 40% are sad, as per Gallup Workplace report. In the U.S., prices stayed flat in May as inflation hit plateau, and Federal Reserve leaves rates unchanged, sees only one 2024 cut despite inflation progress. Philippine rate cut likely to come after Fed, finance chief says. Australia's unemployment rate dips to 4% as economy adds 40,000 new jobs. Bolivia deploys military to gas stations amid fuel shortage. Reportedly, China overlooks Milei's rhetoric, hands Argentina $35 billion lifeline. In Argentina, it had been reported that chaos outside Congress as anti-omnibus protest turns violent. Broadcom shares surge after AI computing demand fuels growth. OpenAI's annualized revenue doubles to $3.4 billion since late 2023. Shine steers tough course in pursuit of blockbuster London IPO. Reportedly, more Russians died in 10 months' battle for Bakhmut than in 10 years' Afghan war. FT investigation finds Ukrainian children on Russian adoption sites, and U.S. aware of credible reports Russia is listing Ukrainian children for adoption, White House says. Dutch MPs approve purchase of 4 Black Sword Barracuda submarines from Naval Group. Armenia to quit Russia's military alliance amid split with Putin. India urges Russia to return its citizens recruited by Russia's army after 2 killed. In Germany, union politicians demand conscription for women too. S-500 Prometheus air defense system now protecting Russia's Kerch Bridge, claimed by Ukraine's spy boss. Rheinmetall Kyiv agreed to start producing Lynx armored vehicles in Ukraine in 2024. KNDS to unveil next-generation main battle tank at Eurosatory 2024. Moldovan president signs changes to treason law denounced by opposition. Amnesty International. Massive attack cancel Georgia show, in protest to the government's attack on basic human rights. France's Macron suspends New Caledonia reform that sparked deadly riots after snap polls called. Robert Pattinson and Smile director Parker Finn partner on remake of horror pick Possession. Adventure Time movie in development with Rebecca Sugar, Patrick McHale and Adam Muto attached. 2 spin-off series also in the works. Disney's live-action Moana casts Catherine Laga in lead role opposite Dwayne Johnson. Filming starts this summer. John Grisham's The Rainmaker set for series adaptation at USA Network with Jason Blum producing. Netflix to stream Labor Day hot dog eating contest with rival champions Joey Chestnut, Takeru Kobayashi. George R. R. Martin says previously scrapped Game of Thrones spin-off 10,000 Ships has been revived. In the U.S., Alito attacks ProPublica over Pulitzer winning ethics coverage. They don't like our decisions. Ocasio-Cortez, Raskin to introduce legislation to rein in a fundamentally unaccountable and rogue Supreme Court, and U.S. Supreme Court in crisis of legitimacy, says AOC at U.S. Congress Oversight Roundtable. Senator Lindsey Graham says he will block Democrats' effort to unanimously pass Supreme Court ethics bill. Senate Democrats launch probe of foreign payments to Jared Kushner's firm. Hunter Biden trial isn't changing U.S. voters' minds, Reuters and Ipsos poll finds. Bob Menendez used prosecutor's job interview to lobby for friend as Menendez prosecutor's star witness describes bribery scheme over brandy and cigars, and it has been reported that Bob Menendez files to run as independent for Senate while on trial. Just a quarter of British people now think the UK should be outside the European Union. Germans increasingly dissatisfied with their lives, according to study. For the first time, Spain becomes the Euro country with the highest risk of poverty. In Canada, damage done by 2024 wildfire season well below average so far, federal officials say. Heavy rain and life-threatening flooding hit South Florida, prompting the governor to declare an emergency. Qatar Airways passengers pass out on runway in Athens after Boeing plane's cooling fails. Zuma's MK party seeks to block South African parliament, citing vote rigging. In Canada, Mo pledges to investigate chemtrails at meeting in Spears, Saskatchewan. Opposition calls foul. South Australia government proposes world-eating laws to ban political parties from receiving electoral donations. South Africa records first monkeypox death after 5 cases confirmed. In the U.S., Michigan's largest insurer to drop weight loss drug coverage. Healthcare spending will account for almost 20% of U.S. economy by 2032, as announced by CMS, as U.S. healthcare spending rises to $4.8 trillion in 2023, outpacing GDP. Apple to pay OpenAI for ChatGPT through distribution, not cash. Demand for Apple Intelligence will drive an iPhone supercycle, says Wedbush. 2025 BMW M2 gets 20 horsepower boost to 473 ponies, updated cabin. Honda launches long-awaited electric van starting at $15,550. 9 months ago, it had been announced that Honda unveils $10,000 electric in-van E, with 130 miles range, that can power your home. FBI official admits mistakes, vows to improve relations with Asian American communities, as FBI asks scientists for trust in taking anti-Asian bias seriously. Sales of Chinese CCTV cameras surged despite UK security ban. Nearly 80% of Americans are concerned about the spread of disinformation, with Black people among the most targeted. More than 75% of U.S. hotels remain short-staffed, survey shows. LA Times comments as, the fast food industry claims the California minimum wage law is costing jobs. Its numbers are fake. New York Times union urges management to reconsider 9 art department cuts, as paper ramps up AI tools. Social media platform X begins hiding users' likes to protect privacy. YouTube looks to be testing server-side ad injection to counter ad blockers. Japan forces Apple and Google to allow third-party app stores and payments. Under pressure from Russian censors, Mozilla removes anti-censorship extensions. Microsoft pauses rollout of Windows 11 24H2 preview build after announcing recall changes. Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation have all now abandoned Twitter X integration. Valve faces $843 million lawsuit in UK for allegedly overcharging 14 million gamers. 4 more states join U.S. monopoly lawsuit against Apple. In the U.S., Spotify hit with FTC complaint by Songwriters Association over royalties. New ride-sharing app Black Wolf is like Uber but with drivers who carry guns. GameStop raises more than $2 billion by selling 75 million shares, capitalizing on meme frenzy. Boeing sales tumble, as the company gets no orders for the 737 MAX for the 2nd straight month. Utah sues TikTok, alleging TikTok Live is a virtual strip club for minors. Pope Francis allegedly repeats gay slur, opposes gay men in priesthood. For ultra-right activists sentenced for homophobic attack in Paris. Denmark recalls Korean ramen for being too spicy. A disgruntled former employee at a Singaporean IT firm caused carnage after deleting over 180 servers. Chicago hitwoman used hijab disguise in botched contract killing, claimed in a report. Meat and cheese left behind on greased pole weeks after South Philly's Italian Market Festival. SoftBank's new AI makes angry customers sound calm on phone. Photographer disqualified from AI image contest after winning with real photo. Elon Musk drops lawsuit after OpenAI published his emails. President Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, is convicted of all 3 felonies in federal gun trial. Paul Ryan faces GOP blowback after saying he won't vote for Trump. U.S. Congress holds Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt over Joe Biden interview. Texas secessionists win GOP backing for independence vote. Oklahoma Supreme Court dismisses lawsuit of last Tulsa race massacre survivors seeking reparations. Arizona man planned a mass shooting targeting African Americans at an Atlanta concert to incite a race war, U.S. federal authorities say. A 98-year-old man's liver was donated. He is believed to be the oldest American organ donor ever. NBA icon and Hall of Famer Jerry West passes away at 86. Françoise Hardy, French pop singer and fashion muse, dies aged 80. Explorer Ernest Shackleton's last ship found off Labrador's south coast, says expedition. German researchers decode earliest known written record of Jesus' childhood. A rare antelope dies after choking on a plastic cap at Tennessee Zoo. Number of Ethereum NFT traders falls below 4,000 for first time since June 2021. American investor Martin Shkreli accused of copying and sharing one-of-a-kind Wu-Tang Clan album. Hungary agrees not to veto NATO support to Ukraine as long as it's not forced to help out. French conservatives remove leader Eric Ciotti for backing Le Pen pact. Zelensky lands in Saudi Arabia for unannounced visit. U.S. settles for $4.47 billion with now bankrupt crypto firm Terraform Labs. OKX refunds users whose assets were stolen on its platform. Bitcoin drops as Federal Reserve announces no rate cuts in June. The Washington Post reported as, Israel shrugs at high civilian casualties in Gaza. So does Hamas, as UN inquiry says Israel and Hamas have both committed war crimes since October 7, and Hamas leader said civilian death toll could benefit militant group in Gaza war, Wall Street Journal reports. Hezbollah rains rockets on Israel after strike kills commander. Japan moves up to 118th among 146 countries in the world for gender equality, the lowest in G7 nations. In Brazil, bill provides that a raped woman who has an abortion may face a greater sentence than the rapist. SpaceX sued by 8 engineers fired after accusing Elon Musk of sexism. In Ireland, number of homeless asylum seekers passes 2,000 for first time, new figures show. Associated Press sources claim 8 people with possible Islamic State ties arrested in U.S. on immigration violations. Kuwait building fire kills at least 49 Indian workers. Blinken says U.S. will try to bridge Israel and Hamas gaps on Gaza truce. Time for haggling to stop. And Blinken says some of Hamas' proposed changes to a ceasefire plan in Gaza are workable and some not. Hamas seeks complete halt to war in Gaza proposal response. UN says record 120 million people forcibly displaced globally. Dollar and euro trade halted on Russia's biggest exchange due to new U.S. sanctions. New U.S. wave of Ukraine sanctions includes targets in Hong Kong and mainland China. U.S. expands Russia sanctions to target LNG projects, chips, and David Cameron calls on Europe to turn off Russian gas to save Ukraine. Cryptojacking campaign targets misconfigured Kubernetes clusters. Warm cookie backdoor targets job seekers in latest phishing scheme. Apple refused to pay bounty to Kaspersky for uncovering vulnerability part of Operation Triangulation. China-backed hackers exploit Fortinet flaw, infecting 20,000 systems globally. Hackers access Tile internal tracking tools, customer data. Microsoft issues patches for 51 flaws, including critical MSMQ vulnerability. Chinese involvement in Indonesia mining project sparks protests, concerns of environmental disaster. In the U.S., Biden and Harris administration announces national strategy to reduce food loss and waste and recycle organics. Big oil given stark warning as peak crude and a major supply surplus expected by 2030. U.S. says structural issues in India and China ties, difficult to resolve. Iran hopes to finalize 20 years pact with Russia, as Bagheri Khani meets Lavrov. China, Russia failed to stop UN meeting on North Korea rights abuses. Nearly a week ago, Chinese battery suppliers tied to Ford, VW should be banned, GOP lawmakers say. EU hits Chinese EVs with extra duties of up to 38.1%, and Czech carmakers warn tariffs on Chinese EVs could hit supply chains. Tesla to build Shanghai factory to make Megapack batteries. Tesla pops 7% in pre-market, after Elon Musk says he is set for victory in $56 billion pay vote. Raspberry Pi is now a public company. Microsoft sued by supercomputer creator over AI architecture. Boeing Starliner stuck on space station as more leaks discovered. NASA accidentally broadcasts simulation of distressed astronauts on space station. DARPA's secretive new neutrino detector program could be a game changer for global underwater military surveillance. Zimbabwe seeks input to regulate cryptocurrency operations. Trump says remaining Bitcoin must be made in U.S. Saudi Arabia joins BS and China-led central bank digital currency project. Satellite data reveal electromagnetic anomalies up to 19 days before 2023 Turkey earthquake. Study confirms the rotation of Earth's inner core has slowed. Rescue dogs are less stressed